A lot of people don't know this, but the reason Arnold became 8-time Mr. Olympia was because he just watched a bunch of videos of guys lifting weights. The same with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant never showed up to practice, never worked on his skills alone, or got any repetitions outside of the game. All he did was watch videos of other basketball players. And let's not forget Cristiano Ronaldo. He's got the world record for the most World Cup goals in history, and he did it just by sitting at home watching cartoons all day. He never really had to practice. Okay, obviously everything I'm saying is absolute nonsense, and you clicked on this video because you want to know how to actually get good at sales, not hear my sarcastic nonsense. First things first, like, why even bother actually getting good at sales? Well, sales is the fundamental skill in all wealth creation methods, and it's the highest ROI activity if you're trying to scale your business. It's what brings cash in the door. It keeps the lights on, it pays monthly payroll, and most importantly, sales is the number one thing that businesses actually need in order to make money. So by neglecting to learn sales, you're effectively leaving a lot of money on the table. And I had to learn the hard way. When I first got into online business, I spent months banging my head against the wall without seeing any success because I just neglected taking the time to truly learn sales. I was aimlessly taking sales calls from my agency, swinging in the dark and hoping something would work. And as a result, I faced a lot of rejection, to the point in which I nearly ended up quitting. And I really don't want you guys to make the same mistakes as me, so I want you to take the time to learn sales now because I just know you won't regret it. And in the next 10 minutes here or so, I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to get good at sales and exactly what I've done to do over 3 million in sales for my agency and help over 100 guys in Club Closer, quit the 9-to-5s and scale up to 10K a month themselves. So get comfy, pay attention, because I'm going to show you how you can actually get good. First things first, if you actually want to get good at sales, you need to learn the principles of how to be a good salesman. You need to study persuasion, influence, and human psychology. You need to really understand why people buy things and why people are going to buy things from you. And honestly, the best place to start for this is just by reading books, watching YouTube videos, and consuming podcasts. There's tons of free resources out there that you can just get your teeth into and start learning today. Guys like Alex Hormozi, Jeremy Miner, Jordan Belford, along with a bunch of other guys you can start learning off. In addition to that, there's tons of sales books you can read. A few I recommend would be Straight Line Selling by Jordan Belford. Talks a lot about tonality and just gives you the framework for good sales calls. You've also got How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, that one's gonna teach you more about human persuasion, why we make certain decisions, why we like certain people. It's a really good one for learning influence. And then you've got Persuasion, probably one of the oldest and best sales books out there. It's quite a heavy read, but really recommend you pick it up. So what I recommend you do is I recommend you pick 1 to 2 resources and really study them religiously. I don't want you trying to read 7 books, watch 100 different videos, and have 20 podcasts in your ears at all times. All this is gonna do is overload your brain with information and you're not actually gonna digest any of it. It's gonna go in one ear and out the other. And like I said at the beginning of this video, sitting down and consuming content, isn't gonna cut it. It's really just the first step. And if all you did is consume content, you're not really gonna get much better because sales is very much an active skill. You actually need to apply what you learn and practice it in order to get better. And it's no different to going to the gym. You can't just sit and watch videos of bodybuilders all day and expect to get stronger. You need to lift the weights. You need to tear the muscle fibers. You need to do the cardio in order to actually make progress. And sales is no different. You need actual game time in order to get better. And the best way to do this if you're starting out is by role playing. It's the closest thing you're gonna get to actually running a live sales call without the pressure of, an actual client on the other end that you could potentially lose money on if you don't close. And a role play is simply a practice sales call. You grab a partner, you take your sales script, your frameworks, and you just practice selling to each other. You go through the sales process, taking it in turns. Someone's playing the prospect, somebody's playing the salesman, and you just toss around objections, different sales scenarios, different questions, different outcomes, and really just get used to the sales process. And the goal here is to really make these mock calls and these role plays as close to live sales calls as possible. So the more effort you're putting in as a salesman and the more effort your partner is playing the prospect, the better you're going to be because the closer to an actual sales call you're going to get to. And really think about this as your sales gym. This is where you're going to be flexing your sales muscles, implementing your objection handling and really starting to learn the process of sales. Role plays are critical. And, going back to Kobe Bryant, he's a perfect example of someone who really took role plays seriously. Kobe Bryant would never try a new move in a game without first putting thousands of hours of practice in his practice sessions. He would go through that move meticulously before actually even trying it in a real game scenario. Now, I'm not saying you really need to spend thousands of hours running role plays before you take your first sales call. I'm just saying you need to start practicing, and you need to know what you're doing before you actually jump on a live sales call with a prospect where there's actually money on the line. This is kind of the basics. Like, you've read the books, you've consumed the content, and you've actually started applying it into some mock calls and some role plays. You might even be taking some live sales calls at this point, which you're applying this stuff you've learned. But the secret to live reps and actually continuing to progress as a salesman is to really make sure you're reviewing your gameplay.
What I observed a lot of my career is how players study film. Because now it's become like you watch game film and you see what you do right, you see what you do wrong. Okay, let's do more of that, let's do less of that, right? But the way I grew up, from Tex Winter, Phil Jackson, the way film was broken down, it was broken down to the smallest detail. It was broken down to the right angle. It was broken down to foot placement, timing, looking at the posture of a teammate. What could he be thinking? What could he be feeling? Same thing with the opposition. You watch the feed, watch players go into the timeouts, who's talking to who's not talking. You start looking at every little thing. And so watching the game for me would take like 5 hours.
You need to be recording every single one of your live sales calls and probably a lot of your role plays too. You then want to be watching them back, taking notes of, things you did well, things where you think you messed up, and really highlighting the areas that maybe you lost the sale and, where actually you can improve. And it's really this process of self-analysis that's really going to take you from an okay salesman to a great salesman. The same reason why Kobe Bryant is, the best basketball player in the world, because he reviewed hours and hours of gameplay footage. He would watch every single minute of every single game he ever played, reviewing it back, seeing what he did good, seeing what he did bad, and really seeing where you can improve. And this constant self-analysis and iterations in your sales calls and in your sales practice is going to allow you to make massive improvements in a much shorter period of time than if you were just to sit consuming sales content. So in summary, to actually get really good at sales, you need to first study it, you then need to practice it, and then you need to go away and analyze it. And this is the same as learning any skill. But the difference is learning sales will be the highest ROI activity you can do. You're going to be able to close a lot more deals and ultimately make a lot more money by just taking the time to learn sales. And there's one last thing I want to add to this process that's really going to allow you to supercharge the process of learning sales and getting good at it. And this is by finding a coach or a mentor that is already good at sales. This is someone that's already learned what you're trying to learn. They're going to be able to give you instant feedback and show you exactly how you can improve without you having to self-analyze so much. And it's, again, the reason why all these top athletes have coaches like Kobe Bryant. Coaches will be able to provide guidance, accountability, and show you exactly the areas you need to improve. And if you get a good coach, they've already done what you're trying to do. So they'll know the mistakes you're likely going to have to make. They're going to drastically reduce the time it takes you to learn that skill. Having someone who's literally been where you're at, who has solved the problems you're trying to solve, and genuinely just have all the answers to the questions you're going to have, is so invaluable. I've personally had loads of different coaches over the years. I've got a PT, I've got a mindset coach, I've got a bunch of different business coaches, and I've always been taught by mentors. They give me eyes on the areas that I'm missing and show me the areas that I drastically need to improve on and kind of show me exactly how to improve. So if you're serious about learning sales, I would highly recommend you find a sales coach or a business coach, because by pairing the studying, the practice, and the self-analysis, whilst also having a third eye look down on everything you're doing to make sure you're making steps in the right direction, it would just help you get there a lot quicker. And last thing I add is that if you're truly looking to learn sales, get killer at it, and use it to make 6 figures a year online, I would highly suggest you check out my coaching program, Club Closer. We have a proven system where we've worked with guys that have sales experience or have none. We've got them killer at sales, and we've helped them land remote sales positions where they could be earning at least 10K a month in a matter of months. So if you're really serious about mastering sales, you want to secure time, location, and financial freedom, I highly suggest you check out the link in the description to my website, and I'll show you exactly how we can help you achieve that. But if not, no worries. You can just apply exactly what I've taught you in this YouTube video to get better at sales a lot quicker. And you can subscribe to the channel to see more sales content like this.